Luzon Strait. Night. The ocean is black glass, until it isn't. A tanker erupts like a lighthouse made of fire, and the light hits everything. The convoy, the escorts, and the one American submarine sitting where it should never be. 14 big ships, a dozen escorts, 6 torpedoes left. And now the escort guns start walking shells across the water toward the glow. Commander Reuben Thornton Whitaker doesn't dive. He does the opposite. He slips deeper into the formation, toward the steel wall. Submarine war patrols are not missions. They're attrition math. In the U.S. submarine force, about 22% of personnel were killed, nearly 1 in 5, the highest loss rate in the U.S. services. Whitaker doesn't have air cover. He doesn't have reinforcements. He doesn't have room to run, because the convoy is between him and safety. And worse, every minute he stays is a new chance to be pinned, depth-charged, crushed, and erased. But Whitaker is about to defy the statistics, because in the coming months, he will slip into escorted convoys like a thief walking through a lit hallway, sink 6 merchant vessels from 2 well-guarded convoys, not by luck, but by repetition, even go after a Japanese light cruiser guarded by a destroyer, and live. His unique advantage isn't superhuman courage. It's a mind that treats combat like a solvable engineering problem. Reuben Thornton Whitaker, born 23rd September 1911, will become one of the most aggressive American submarine commanders of World War II, earning 3 Navy Crosses and multiple Silver Stars. Source. And if you want to understand how a man calmly drives into a burning convoy, you have to know what made him different. But to understand how, you need to know what made him different. 1934, Annapolis, Maryland. Whitaker graduates from the U.S. Naval Academy. On paper, that's just a commissioning. In reality, it's a decision to join a profession where mistakes don't just get you fired. They get you and everyone around you killed in silence. Submarines are a weird corner of the Navy. Cramped, technical, and unforgiving. A battleship can absorb errors. A submarine can't. A valve misread. A hatch dogged wrong. A sonar contact ignored. There's no second chance. Whitaker leans into that. He's not drawn to glory. He's drawn to systems, procedures, the logic of survival. What he earns isn't a medal yet. It's something more important early on. A reputation as the kind of officer who stays calm when the ocean starts trying to kill you. 4 October 1942. North of Vesuvius Point, New Georgia Island, Solomon Islands. Whitaker is commanding USS S-44 and runs into a column of 3 enemy destroyers. This is not a fair fight. A destroyer is built to kill submarines. 3 destroyers is an execution squad. Whitaker attacks anyway, maneuvering into close firing position and landing 3 torpedo hits that sink the lead destroyer. And he knows what comes next. Depth charges. The boat shakes. Metal groans. Men listen for the sound that means a seam has opened. But Whitaker does something that becomes his signature. He accepts the unfavorable moment rather than retreating from it. He brings S-44 out undamaged. What he earns, the belief of his crew that their skipper will take the shot, then bring them home. 6 January 29, February 1944. Whitaker takes USS Flasher, SS-249, on her first war patrol. Escorts and aircraft are everywhere. The ocean is enemy-controlled. Whitaker doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He uses all the resources at his command, attacking through screens, and he sinks 4 enemy ships and 1 sampan totaling 26,522 tons, then evades countermeasures without damage. Source. This matters because it proves something. He isn't a one-night gambler. He's a repeatable process. Find, approach, solve firing geometry. Fire, disappear. What he earns, a Navy Cross, and the silent understanding that this is a captain who will keep pressing when others would surface to breathe. 29 April 1944. Shallow waters off the coast of Indochina. Submarines hate shallow water. You can't dive deep. You can't hide well. You're a knife fighter trapped in a hallway. Whitaker attacks anyway. He sinks 2 escorted freighters, 165 tons and 4,000 tons. Then on through May 1944, after a persistent chase, he repeatedly attacks and sinks an armed freighter of about 7,500 tons. His pattern is becoming obvious. He doesn't just strike, he restrikes. He treats an engagement like a mechanical problem that can be iterated until it breaks in his favor. What he earns, another major award, and something harder to quantify. Enemy captains who begin to realize there's a U.S. submarine commander who doesn't quit when the ocean says no. 19 June, 7 August, 1944. South China Sea. Now, Whitaker is not just a hunter. He's a coordinator. His citation will credit him as officer in tactical command of a coordinated group. Source. During this period, he attacks at every opportunity, sinking 6 enemy merchant vessels from 2 exceptionally well-escorted convoys for 42,800 tons, and also attacks and sinks a Japanese light cruiser of the Numa class. Source. This is the moment where the story stops being bravery and becomes architecture. He's building a repeatable system, detection, geometry, timing, evasion, then repositioning, again and again. By mid-1944, Whitaker has earned a reputation that doesn't fit neat slogans. Not reckless, not cautious, relentlessly rational. By mid-1944, Reuben Whitaker had stacked patrol successes, awards, and a pattern of doing the unexpected. But nothing would compare to what happened next. We're going back to that burning convoy. This is how he did it. We return to the night attack described in naval history accounts, a convoy in the Luzon Strait, a place where shipping funnels through and escorts can concentrate. Whitaker isn't improvising blindly. He's doing what he has trained himself to do for years, turn chaos into steps. In the Black Pacific Night, the first fight is information. Shapes are ambiguous. A mast could be a tanker. A wave could be a destroyer's bow cutting water. Whitaker's world becomes bearings, ranges, and seconds. A submarine attack isn't charge and fire. It's math, angles, speed estimates, spread settings, and a plan for what happens after the torpedoes run. Whitaker thinks like a man building an exit route before he opens the door. The escorts are doing what escorts do, protecting the merchants, scanning for periscopes, forcing submarines to either dive deep or back off. Whitaker chooses door number 3. He slips into the midst of the convoy. This is where the stakes expand beyond him. A successful convoy hit isn't just tonnage. It's fuel, ammunition, food, and troop movement denied. Every merchant vessel sunk is one less artery feeding Japan's war machine. This is why submarine captains were ordered to keep pressing even when the ocean fought back. Then comes the internal decision point. Because the moment he fires, the convoy will transform into a killing zone. Whitaker chooses the absurd option: fire, stay close, and exploit the confusion. One sentence makes it rational. If the escorts are looking outward for a submarine, the safest place is where they least expect it. Inside. Present tense now. Real time. Blow by blow. The convoy is moving like a city block of steel. Escorts weave along the edges, and every one of them is a predator built for one purpose: find the submarine and make the ocean collapse on it. Whitaker slides in close. The air inside the boat smells like oil, sweat, and electricity. The sea presses against the hull with a patience that feels personal. Solution: he penetrates the formation, not outside the guard dogs, between them. Source: complication. Inside the convoy, targets are everywhere. So is the risk of being lit up, rammed, or trapped. He has 6 torpedoes left for this moment. 6. That's not abundance. That's a countdown. Every shot must either sink something or reshape the convoy's behavior, turning ships, breaking formation, forcing escorts to react. Solution. Whitaker fires into the heart of it. A freighter goes down. Another ship is damaged. Then one torpedo threads the formation and hits a fully loaded 5,280-ton tanker. Complication. The tanker doesn't just sink. It erupts. Flames climb. The convoy is illuminated like a stage. And now, everyone can see where the attack came from. The burning tanker is a disaster and a gift. The escort's guns begin to fire. Shell splashes hammer the sea. The noise is physical. Thuds, cracks, the sharp slap of water thrown into the air. Solution. Whitaker uses the chaos. In a suddenly lit world, escorts are firing at shadows and guesses. Confusion is a weapon. He orders the boat down. Fast. Complication. Diving isn't an escape. It's a new problem. Depth limits, sonar, and the escort's response. Depth charges are not explosions. They are pressure. They turn seawater into a fist. The hull rings like a bell struck by a hammer. Lights flicker. Men hold their breath, not from fear, but from instinct, as if silence might make them smaller. Solution. He dives to 300 feet and escapes. But here's the key. He doesn't escape by luck. He escapes by refusing to panic. The boat becomes a disciplined machine. Quiet running, controlled angles, patient course changes. Complication. The convoy is still there. The escorts are still hunting. And Whitaker has just told the enemy, I can get inside your formation. Now imagine the Japanese convoy commander. He's staring at the firelight, listening to reports, trying to keep ships from colliding, trying to keep the escorts from chasing phantoms. The convoy wants to run, to scatter, to vanish into the dark. Whitaker anticipates that. He isn't thinking in minutes. He's thinking in likely behaviors. Scatter means single ships become isolated. Isolated ships die. Solution. He hunts the ones that try to peel away, forcing the convoy to remain a herd under stress. This is why his reputation grows. Not just sinking ships, but controlling enemy movement through fear and pressure. And the numbers start stacking across his patrol history. Convoy attacks, escort screens defeated, repeated success against guarded targets. Each success draws harder retaliation, heavier screening, tighter escort patterns. There's a quiet truth in submarine war. Even genius degrades when bodies do. Eyes burn, hands shake, the air gets stale. Your world is a steel cylinder of recycled breath. Solution. Whitaker's advantage is that he operates by procedure, not adrenaline. Procedure keeps you effective when you're tired. It keeps the crew aligned when fear tries to make everyone improvise. Complication. The final problem arrives. The last chance to be erased in the dark. A final escort pass. A last sweep. The kind where the enemy thinks, now. Now we catch him. The ocean goes quiet, and that quiet is more terrifying than the explosions, because it means someone is listening. Whitaker has one last resource. Not a secret weapon, not a miracle, discipline. Second by second, he rides the thin line. A course change, small enough to avoid detection. A depth adjustment, measured. Silence inside the boat so complete that even metal seems to hold its breath. Men taste oil and copper in the air. Every sonar ping feels like a flashlight beam sliding across a hiding place. And then, nothing. The escort's pattern drifts away. The sounds fade into the distance. The sea stops punching the hull. Whitaker survives, not with a victory yell, not with theatrics, just the understated relief of a man who solved the equation. Again, news in wartime navies moves fast, even without social media, because fear is efficient. A convoy gets mauled, and every captain in the region starts adjusting behavior. New routes, new escort patterns, tighter discipline. Whitaker's patrol outcomes don't stay private for long because his awards citations are blunt. He attacked at every opportunity and sank ships from exceptionally well-escorted convoys. Source official response follows the language the Navy uses when it wants to say, "This is not normal." Multiple Navy Cross Awards, Silver Stars, a growing mythos that spreads in mess halls and briefing rooms. Whitaker doesn't merely stalk ships, he stalks the decisions behind them and the absurd detail that makes it real. He did it not with infinite ammunition, but sometimes with his last torpedoes, because he planned the after before he fired the now. 30 August 20th. October 1944. West of Manila, another patrol, another high-risk region, another screen of enemy measures from air and escort ships. Whitaker leads 3 successful attacks in the face of very intense anti-submarine measures and sinks 3 cargo ships and 1 troop ship, totaling 23,000 tons, damaging another ship heavily. This is important for the story because it proves the main event wasn't a fluke. He keeps repeating the same pattern: close in, strike through protection, and survive the counterattack. What it proves is brutally simple. Whitaker's luck is actually character, expressed as method. After the war, Whitaker doesn't become a carnival legend. He keeps serving, eventually retiring as a rear admiral. That's the most telling part. Some men chase the story that was written about them. Others return to the work that created the story in the first place. The same mind that treated a convoy like a solvable equation now turns to logistics and command. Less cinematic, but just as consequential. And the quiet implication is that he never really changed. He simply kept doing what he always did, seeing problems, then refusing to accept the default outcome. Some things you never stop being. Reuben Thornton Whitaker dies, 9 October 1985. Source. But legacy is strange. Headstones can hold a name, dates, maybe a unit, yet they can't hold the feeling of a submarine hull flexing under depth charges, or the decision to drive into a burning convoy because the math said it might work. Some stories don't fit on headstones. Source. There are 2 ways to tell this story. The legend version is simple. Reuben Whitaker is a ruthless sea hunter. A convoy tries to escape. He hunts each one. The documented version is more interesting. He is a systems thinker in a universe of chaos. He survives not because the ocean likes him, but because he refuses to let fear write the plan. His citations don't praise luck. They praise skill, determination, and the willingness to attack at every opportunity, even when escorts and aircraft make that sound suicidal. Source. Both are true. Both are remarkable. But here's what matters. Most people, when the math turns against them, look for an exit. Whitaker looks for a new variable. Where other captains see a guarded convoy and think, not worth it, he sees a geometry problem. Where other men see the burning tanker and think, now we're exposed, he sees the convoy lit like a stage and thinks, now they're blinded by their own panic. Source. The story is simple. The world offers you the reasonable choice. And once in a rare while, someone decides that reasonable is just another word for already dead. So the next time the odds look final, ask the defining Whitaker question. What if the impossible is just an unsolved procedure? Because out there, in a dark strait where a tanker turns night into fire, the man who lives is the one who goes the wrong way, on purpose.